This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of The Empty Chair, Exposing Addiction. Those of you who watched our last episode, it was called The Ones Left Behind. I had 6 family members who represented individuals they had lost due to substance abuse. If you haven't seen it, I would love you to go to MethuenTV.org. Click on the videos and you'll be able to catch it. It's a pretty awesome episode and something that can be helpful to all. Tonight, we're going to put a little bit more positive spin on it, thank God. And we're bringing back my old host as a guest tonight, but she will be a host in the future. So tonight, what we did is bringing back Colleen and 2 of her sponsees, Tiffany and Stacy. Guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. We missed you. Because I've had a lot of people that were concerned because you haven't been here for probably almost a year.
Yeah.
And people were concerned that maybe, you had some troubles.
Yeah.
So why don't you fill everybody, what have you been doing for the last year?
Well, I'm still clean. Everything is going really good right now. Just for the past year, I actually had to, there's a saying that you close some chapters and then other chapters in your life open. So basically, one of the most important things that I've learned since being clean and being in recovery is sometimes you have to let go of people that aren't healthy for you. And sometimes that takes longer than we'd like it to. Mm-hmm. So I was in the process of doing that, letting go of an unhealthy, relationship, friendship, whatever it was. And, just letting go of that, and then, other chapters in my life opening. I started working at Women's View in Lawrence. I started taking on more sponsees and just doing more in general for myself and my recovery.
Well, plus in the future, you're going to be on this side of the table too,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah. Get the chair ready.
Okay. All right, and why don't you introduce your 2 sponsees? And people are going to remember this one, but why don't you introduce them anyway?
Yep, I got my sponsee Tiffany and Stacy, who actually used to be my sponsee's sister. We both shared Joy as a sponsor,
right.
Years ago.
Years ago, yeah.
So now it's kind of come full circle.
That's right.
Maybe we'll get in. I'll tell you what. Before we get into anything like that, how did you end up your sister to being your sponsor? It's got to be. I'm surprised.
I knew you would be.
Yeah. I just found out tonight.
So, normally I'm in Lowell. I had a sponsor in Lowell. And, she gratefully took me through all 12 steps. But for me, I needed change in my recovery. Mm-hmm. I was feeling stagnant. I, stuck, like I wasn't going anywhere after I got done all 12. So, I did some praying and I did some, I spoke to a couple other people and I made the move. And I started going to a meeting out here in Methuen, and, I seen Colleen, and it was funny because I texted her. We're in the meeting and we're not supposed to, but I said, how many sponsees do you have right now? And she said, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she came up to me and she said, why? And I said, I was just asking. And she says, oh, I thought you were gonna throw me some crazy one or something. And I said, yeah, me. And she's like, what? Like, it was a shock to her as well. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I love her to death. Yeah. She'll always be my sister. you know. Since the passing of Joy, we got really close. We've stayed close. We continue to stay in contact. And now you know, we've always had that connection.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's great.
Me too.
I think it's great that
It's full
you know,
circle.
Yep.
obviously
Full
you know
circle.
what she does, so
Absolutely.
and
And
she
that's
knows
what I want.
you do.
That's,
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Well, I know I'm glad because I do know that you know you had kind of I won't say you went your separate ways, but you didn't have that family thing that you had
Right.
years past. So welcome back to the family.
Thanks.
All right, and Tiffany, how did you hook up with my darling daughter?
Well, funny story about that is Stacy used to be my grant sponsor. So my first sponsor, Vicky, moved to Pennsylvania, but she like knew it was coming. I had like the opportunity to decide whether I wanted to like stay on working with her and or like keep my eyes open. And I was like in a point in my recovery where like I wasn't like desperate like I was when I first came in, like desperate and like willing to do everything, but like I wasn't like passionate. I was kind of just like stuck in the middle, just like going to meetings, like working my recovery, but like I guess like a form of complacency. And I started praying like pretty much for like guidance of like I don't want to really get a new sponsor. It's kind of uncomfortable, and like I was working a third step, and I didn't want to start over. And like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so I was praying, and I was going to like the same meetings, and I was seeing Colleen like more and more, and her like passion, and like I hadn't even spoken in meetings in probably like a good month. Like the disease had me like silent. I was kind of just in my own stuff, and like I saw Colleen and her passion. I'd seen her around before, but she was kind of like intimidating a little bit, but like something about like I was listening harder because like I was looking for something. And so there's a women's meeting, a new women's meeting in Methuen, and I like vomited it all out there. I was like shaking and crying the first time I spoke in months, and pretty sure I walked up after and awkwardly asked Colleen. I don't know if I'd ever had a like serious conversation or just passing hi, and just like, can you sponsor me? Absolutely. Yeah, so we've been working together for a little bit now.
Good. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And how many are you sponsoring now?
8.
8?
8. And just
good.
about everybody is.
No wonder you have such good attendance at the Methuen meeting.
Well, it's nice because, like, you know, that is, it's kind of a lot, but everybody is doing the work. I mean, usually if you have, you know, a lot of sponsees, it's maybe like 50-50. You have half that are doing the work and half that aren't really, and pretty much everybody is on point with everything.
Well, I remember, you know, back when Joy, who also sponsored quite a few at one time, and I think the plus was not just her being your sponsor, but the way your family grew because of the numbers that she had. So
Yeah.
So that's great. I'm
Yeah.
so happy.
And it's really, it's important too. Like, it's important to be available, and a lot of them are. I mean, they're pretty low maintenance. I mean, they all, you know, do their step work. They all have like, you know, a good amount of time. You know, like we keep in touch, like through either text or phone calls. Or I see them at meetings. I mean, I'm pretty much friends with all of them anyways. So it's really not. I mean, it's an honor to be like asked
Yeah.
to help somebody.
So, you know, just to bring everybody up to date, because I haven't seen you, you'll be celebrating 8 years in September.
Yeah.
What do you have, Tiffany?
2 years and like 4 months.
2 years and 4 months?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Stace?
I just celebrated 6 years, February 1st.
Did you really? Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Wow.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, even when I first started going to meetings, when I first got clean in Lawrence, like you'd hear a lot of, you know, there's not a lot of women in the 12-step fellowship that we go to with a lot of time,
Yeah.
with a lot of clean time, and a lot of us were, we said the same thing. So we're like, all right, let's just, we're gonna stay. We're gonna stay, and a lot of us stayed, and a lot of us have now there are a lot of women in the area with, substantial clean time.
Well, I know you recently did start a new thing in Methuen,
Yeah.
which obviously I'm pleased because I like to see you bringing it in like that. So I take it that that's going well.
It's going really well.
Is it really?
Really well. It's a women's meeting. It's in Methuen. It's a 12-step meeting, the first ever of this kind of 12-step meeting in Methuen, I believe. And usually women's meetings struggle, to get the attendance going. Usually they take a while to get going, but this one, pretty much, after a couple of weeks,
Wow.
we have anywhere between 20 and 40 women there.
Really?
Every week. We have the programs that go there. Pegasus will go there. Megan's
Okay.
House and Lowell will go there, and then a lot of us go too, and we're starting to get more, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. I suppose we ought to at least just a little history. All right. I know you've got a lot of clean time, and you've got a lot of clean time, but just to refer, how old were you guys when you started using? Do you remember that far back?
I was 11.
11.
Yeah.
Tiffany?
About 13.
Yeah, and you want to know that I try to ask that every time because that's the normal age. It is between 11 and 14. You actually were a little bit late.
Late bloomer, 16.
Yeah, were you 15 or?
15 or 16.
Yeah, you were a late bloomer. But but actually, yes, under 16 is the norm. And what did you start with, Stace?
Pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long before you kind of to?
Around 15.
So you stayed on what, pot and maybe alcohol?
Yeah.
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 And Tiffany, did you start with pretty much the same stuff, or?
Yeah, I think it was weed once, and then I drank once, and then it was ecstasy. Mine escalated very quickly. Ooh,
Yeah.
this is fun. I want something better. Ooh, this is fun. There has to be something better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So-
that's how it went.
Because I've talked to some school kids, and I talked to parents and so forth like that. And when you're that young, because I remember, believe it or not, I remember when I was that young. And I remember, when I was 13, 14, I had no fears.
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid of anything. Was it like that with you
That's how it
guys? I mean, you did some weed, you did this. You weren't afraid that you were gonna.
Not back then.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Nowadays, it's,
Yeah.
But
So
back then, no fear.
So back then, when you're young, you're not afraid to try these things. Obviously, you don't think it's going to happen to you anyway, right?
Right.
Right.
Wow.
I think the fear goes to the wayside because you want to fit in and you don't want to be, like an outcast. You
Right.
want to have friends. You want to, fit in somehow, even if it means, doing things that you might be afraid of or you don't know what it's going to do to you. But you just kind of walk through that fear
Yeah.
because you want these people to like you and you think that that's what's going to do it.
Yeah, because a lot of the kids I've talked to, and their parents too, because parents, I find, with the kids, they have no fear. With the parents, maybe not as much now as when I was, but we minimize things. I remember the first time, I think it was the first time I found out you were drinking, but you got sick, we had to take you to the hospital. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
Because she dehydrated, and we brought her home, and we said, "Oh, she won't do that again. That got her sick. She won't do it." And naturally, oh no, that's it for me. That's it for me. Little did I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So parents have a tendency, I think, even now, to minimize what they're doing. All right, to get back to the sponsors. I'm sorry. Right now. I know the answer, but I like to ask the questions anyway. Now you've got 6 years, in recovery, not clean, in recovery. What do you need a sponsor for? You know it all now.
Absolutely not.
You don't?
Absolutely not.
How
I can
come?
learn something new every day.
Yeah.
As long as I'm honest, open-minded, and willing.
And you know, and what does it having the sponsor? Is it that security that, you know, if you hit a bump or, you know, things aren't, you've got someone you can call, someone you can count on?
Yep, well, perfect example, I had surgery on my foot 2 days ago. You know, and I had to be prescribed medication. And I was afraid, you know, I was still in the back of my mind, you know, because my disease is like, oh my Lord, you know, yeehaw, let's go. I called my sponsor, you know, I text her, she called me right back. She was like in big letters, as needed, as prescribed, you know. But not only that, she's like one of my best friends anyways, you know. But she's a guide. She's got, like Tiffany said, she's got that passion, that fire. It's like, and that's what I want. I want it back.
Yeah, because I can remember when you were with Joy, you definitely had it. You all had it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, basically, you were saying I won't say you really lost it, but you maybe got tired of it a little bit for a while, or you needed a break, so to speak.
Well, other things started to become more important
Yeah.
than going to meetings and having sponsees. And, you know, I went through a little phase where I didn't just give up doing the show. Like, I didn't want to go to meetings. I was pretty much living with somebody that was, you know, that was active, you know, that was using on and off, on and off. And that negativity and that sickness is very, very contagious. And I'm lucky I didn't use. That was a very, very big risk that I took.
Yeah.
I thought that I could help this person.
Yeah.
And I forget all those things that I learned from people like Joy and Stacey and just like all these people, because you want, and I'm sure parents can relate to that stuff too, you want the person to, you know, just be okay. And you think that you can save them, even though deep down you know that you can't. If they have to make that decision for themselves. So you're either going to get like dragged down with them or you got to let them go. Like you have to let them go.
You know, good for you, because your explanation is exactly what a parent does feel.
Yeah.
And
It's a very difficult decision.
You had to get on that side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Even worse for you, because as a parent, we don't got to worry about relapsing and start using, whereas you,
Very, very, it's a scary place to be.
So I'm glad, obviously, because I didn't know about this, by the way. See, when Joy was a sponsor, I could call her, but
Yeah.
so obviously, I'm glad that you did work it through, and you know, I mean, really give yourself a pat on the back, because you showed yourself just how strong your recovery is, and that you worked through it.
You know, Joy's not here anymore, but like her words will be with all of us forever. And you know, like when the pain gets great enough, you do something about it.
Yeah. And you do have a new sponsor also.
Yeah. I mean, when I was going through that, I had a sponsor that I did kind of keep in touch with a little bit, but you know, I needed to get like a new sponsor, and just like, you know, Stacey said, like I needed to get like that fire going again, and I knew exactly who to go to.
Yeah. Well, obviously you've got it, because obviously I've seen the change, you know, with the women's meeting, and obviously you're taking on 8 sponsees, so you know, and I know I've referred people to you also. Thank you very much. All right, Tiffany. Now, you had a sponsor before, Colleen. All right. Now, are you all familiar with? You probably are. You're probably familiar with all her sponsees then.
Yeah.
You are. Do you have those? I know Joy used to have them, the sponsee meetings or whatever. Have you had them yet?
We haven't.
No.
Not yet. I mean, everybody's schedule is very, very, you know, different. Even to try and do like group step work, even with like, you know, like 2 or 3, it's almost impossible just with work schedules, and some have kids, and you know, so we just try and it all seems to work out though.
Yeah.
You know.
And why do you find it so necessary to have a sponsor also? I mean, you know, like when you know, your sponsor moved away, you know, and again, you had some.
I knew that I couldn't like not have a sponsor, because my ideas and like my ideas are what like get me high, and like I need that relationship with another woman to be able, like, if my brain is like getting bright ideas, I need to be like, oh hey, is this like a good idea? And it's usually not. And like so like the step work is a huge part of my recovery. It's my go-to. Like I need my relationship with my higher power. I need a strong relationship with a sponsor. Like, these are just like some of the things I need in my recovery. And like I don't feel like I'm doing the best that I can in my recovery if I'm not utilizing all the things that like are suggested to me.
Yep.
And that's a huge part.
Well, obviously, I think having a sponsor, having a good sponsor,
Yeah.
Is one of the most important things in recovery. I know my family support group, when they talk about how their kids are doing, they're doing meetings, I say, did they get a sponsor? Well, they're not yet. And that worries me. And it's not, like I say, it's not just so much that you have someone you can go to, but it's that family that develops that. I used to think, when Joy was around, and even after she left, when you all came and sat on the same couch and everything like that, the closeness you all had, because, obviously I was very scared for you when Joy died, because I wasn't sure how you'd react.
It made us, we were already close, and then like all of us just, it got like even closer. So I think maybe the exact opposite happened, maybe what people thought, that, one of us would, just give up or use, and it was the exact opposite, like the pain that we all went through, like we went through it together. And it made it really did make us like a family, And
So
the whole point of, the whole point of like having a sponsor, those are just like added bonuses, like having a friendship and having, the laughs and having the good times and having the bonds. But the purpose of a sponsor is, someone to guide you through the 12 steps of whatever fellowship you decide to go to. Like the 12 steps are just like, they basically teach you how to stay in recovery, how to find a higher power, how to get to the root of why you used in the first place. And a sponsor is just there to guide you through it. Like the only way to not work the steps is to work them alone. Other than that, like that's the difference between being clean and being in recovery. You can just be clean and be abstinent, and that's great. But if you're working the steps and you're applying those things in your life, then you're in recovery. And that's when you really start to, feel the benefits of all the work that you're doing. So that's why you would have a sponsor to kind of like guide you through that.
Yep. And I guess it helps if your sponsor's your friend too, huh? Now you got 6 years. I'm going to take a guess. Are you sponsoring someone?
Someone? I have 3 and 2 potentials.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So again, this just increases that whole sponsorship family. Now, are you into it yet or no?
I have one sponsor.
Do you?
Yeah.
Great.
My first sponsor.
That is so wonderful.
I couldn't do it without Carly.
I can remember, I think it was like maybe our second or third show, we had Joy, you, and Erica at the time. And Joy was talking about her sponsor, Terry, and Terry's sponsor, like that. And it just like went almost like to infinity. So you guys have really started to develop that real family that you guys used to have, and I know you miss. I got the 5-minute sign, okay? So, you know what, and this is what, if you could you just give a message to parents, about what it's like being in recovery, and please tell them to take it serious with their kids, because pot, booze can be a gateway drug. So what would your message be to parents?
Well, I'm currently a parent that has a child that is experimenting right now.
Okay.
So, what I say is I can't be hypocritical, but my son knows, he knows the consequences to this. He's watched me. He's watched his stepmother. He watched his father. Don't take it lightly. It's a serious, serious matter.
Good message.
There's an epidemic out there.
There is. I'm glad you used that word. People say there's an epidemic. I'm not sure how many people are actually treating it as an epidemic, but you're right. And, you know, they're going to cut me off in time. I'm so glad you guys come back. And obviously, I'm glad of the connection that you and Colleen and so forth have made like that. So what I have for you guys,
Oh, my.
I'm going to make you, I belong to, you may have an old one. These are the new improved
Oh,
ones.
wow.
I belong to you know, the support group I belong to, Circle of Hope. Those of you who are out there, if you want to get in touch with us, you know, if you're a parent out there and, you know, you have suspicions about your kid, or if your kid's using it and you don't know where to turn or who to go, give me a call. You know, you can go to the MVP ASAP website, mvpasap.com. There'll be all kinds of resources. My phone number's there. Give me a call, and we can talk. Maybe we can help you out. But because you guys are so awesome, and I know how great you're doing, this makes you all official members of the Circle of Hope. And there's one for Renee.
Nice. Thank you.
All right, we have 2 minutes to wrap up. Colleen, I'm going to let you wrap up because you've been here. You haven't been here for so long. I welcome you back. We've missed you. And I think next month, I think we're going to have the lady, 3 or 4 ladies from Women's View. Why don't you just give us like a minute and a half on what the heck you doing at Women's View?
Well, I'm actually, like I have a full-time job during the day still at Market Basket, and I just took on this other second job, so I do a couple overnights a week there. It's just like an overnight relief staff. If anything happens during the night, you know, I'm starting to get to know the girls, you know, just help them, share my experience with them, and just let them know that that is where my recovery started, in Women's View.
That's
right.
right.
You know, like 7.5 years ago, I was in that house for almost a year, and just let them know that it does work, they can do it, and it is possible.
Yeah. And I think you know, Women's View is back.
Yeah.
They're back.
Yeah,
Women's
thank
View,
God.
Pegasus.
Yeah.
We had them here a couple of months ago. Karina Papalato was doing a wonderful job, and I think she'll be expanding on everything down there. So
Good.
I'm glad you're part of that family down there also, because you're right. We owe them a lot.
Yeah.
And I think they saved your life a long time ago. Stacy, obviously, I'm thrilled to see you back. Tiffany, stick with this one. She may be okay. For you at home, you know, again, I thank these ladies for coming in. Remember what I said, you know, don't take this thing lightly. Like Stacy said, if you have suspicions, if you're a little concerned, if you have someone that's got a problem, hide the shame. Go out, talk to somebody. Give me a call. I'll point you in the right direction. Me and Fran, my wife Fran, we'll sit down, we'll talk to you. We'll help you through it. There's a lot of things you can do. You can't make someone get clean, but you can show them the options, what to do, help them out in the future. So with that, I thank you. I appreciate you tuning in all these times. Again, try to watch that episode, The Ones Left Behind. It's very powerful. I think you'll get a lot out of it. So for myself and my guests, we'll see you next month on The Empty Chair. Bye-bye.
This